and welcome to Degrees of Change, the podcast where creativity, culture, and climate collide. I'm your host, Mia DuVall, a graphic design student at the University of the District of Columbia, an artist, and someone who cares a lot about how design can inspire social change. Today's episode is short but powerful. We're diving into the socioeconomic impact of climate change, what that really means, who bears the burden, and why equity must be central to the climate conversation. We're asking, who really pays the price for climate change? Spoiler alert, it's not the earth, it's people, real lives and real communities. But we're not here to get overwhelmed, we're here to get informed, and maybe even a little inspired. I'm joined by my two incredible co-hosts who'll help break down how climate change is affecting our food, our neighborhoods, and more. Let's start with Donique.
Hello everyone, my name is Donique Francis, a fellow UDC student majoring in accounting and finance, and I will be talking about how climate change is threatening food security from crops to grocery costs.
And here's Savanna.
Hey everybody, I'm Savanna, a junior psychology major at the University of DC, and I'll be focusing on how the climate impacts the small neighborhoods that we live in and why local action matters.
Let's zoom out for a second. Climate change isn't a distant future problem. It's already here, and it is expensive. Let's start with the cost. In 2023 alone, the U.S. saw 28 separate billion-dollar climate disasters. That's floods, hurricanes, wildfires, etc. The total cost? A jaw-dropping $92.9 billion. According to the NOAA, climate disasters are becoming more frequent and more costly, posing a severe risk to economies and communities all over the world. But here's the thing, that cost, it's not shared equally. Low-income families, indigenous groups, communities of color, the world over, often bear the brunt. But why? Because they have fewer resources to evacuate, to rebuild, or even prepare. The IPCC 2022 report says climate change disproportionately affects marginalized communities and exacerbates existing inequalities. So it's clear, disasters caused by climate change disproportionately affect marginalized communities and make existing inequalities even worse. The need for urgent and equitable climate adaptation and mitigation is especially critical for vulnerable populations. So, this isn't just about science, it's about justice. So here's the big idea. You can't fix climate change without fixing inequality. Addressing social inequalities is essential for effective climate mitigation and adaptation. When people lack resources, transportation, healthcare, or political power, they struggle to adapt and their risks multiply. The United Nations says that climate change is not only an environmental issue, it's a social justice issue. Climate change is about more than melting ice caps or rising temperatures. It's about people. And some people are paying a higher price than others. We need smart, inclusive climate policy, and it must start with equity. Now let's bring it closer to home literally. What happens when climate change hits your plate? Imagine waking up and finding that the price of your favorite fruit has tripled, or worse, it's no longer available. What if this wasn't a temporary shortage, but the new reality? This is not science fiction. This is the impact of climate change on food security. Climate change is not just about rising sea levels and melting ice caps. It's also about what's on our plates. Extreme weather events like droughts, floods, and hurricanes are becoming more frequent. These conditions destroy crops, reduce harvests, and threaten livestock. Now, Donique will share more about how climate change affects our food security.
In Africa, for instance, prolonged droughts have left millions of people facing hunger. According to the World Meteorological organization reports that Africa is warming at a faster rate than the global average, leading to most frequent and intense droughts. Prolonged dry periods in countries like Ethiopia, Somalia, Kenya have caused significant declines in agricultural output, forcing millions into hunger and food insecurity. According to the United Nations, nearly 23 million people in East Africa has faced extreme hunger in 2022 due to climate-driven droughts. These droughts not only reduce crop yields but also dry up water sources critical for livestock survival. And also, this leaves entire communities vulnerable to prolonged food shortage and economic hardship as climate change increases the frequency of Category 4 and 5 detrimental hurricanes. In the Caribbean, hurricanes wipe out harvests in a matter of hours. According to economics highlights that global warming is intensifying extreme weather events, and these includes destructive hurricanes. In the Caribbean, hurricanes such as Maria that happened in 2017 and Dorian that happened in 2019 wiped out nearly 100% of agricultural production, and this affected islands within hours. The Food and Agriculture Organization states that Dominica alone, after Hurricane Maria, it literally destroyed over 90% of the country's crops, livestock, and fishery. Globally, the rising temperature affects staple crops like rice, wheat, and corn, and these crops thrive within a specific temperature range, and even a slight shift can reduce yields dramatically. Food insecurity doesn't just mean hunger. It means malnutrition, weakened immune system, and stunted growth in children. It means political instability as communities fight over shrinking resources. And let's be clear, while developing countries are the hardest hit, developed nations are not immune. Prices go up, supply chains break down, and even wealthy countries face new challenges in feeding their population. So, what should we do? Let's support sustainable farming practices that can withstand climate stress, reduce food waste, and push for climate policies that consider agriculture and food systems. And most importantly, raise awareness, share the facts, speak out, and get involved. The fight against climate change isn't just about saving the planet, it's about saving dinner, saving communities, and saving lives. Because without food security, there is no security at all. Now, let's zoom in even further. Savannah, speak to us about how climate change hits where we live.
Thanks, Donique. Climate change feels huge, but have you ever wondered how climate change affects your own neighborhood? Yes, climate change impacts even the smallest communities, and here's why it matters more than ever. Climate change isn't just a local issue, it hits home in small areas too. Rising temperatures, more extreme weather, and shifting ecosystems are changing the landscapes that we live in. For example, heavy rains can lead to flooding in areas that were once safe, while droughts can threaten local gardens and parks. These changes can disrupt everyday life, affecting everything from local food security to local economies. But why should we care? So, small neighborhoods are often the backbone to our communities. They're where we build relationships, support local businesses, and create a sense of belonging. When climate change threatens these areas, it undermines not just our environment, but our community spirit. Vulnerable populations like the elderly or low income families are often hit the hardest, which in turn face greater challenges in adapting to these changes. So, what can we do about it? First, we can activate for local climate initiatives, attend town hall meetings, and support policies that promote sustainability like community gardens or green infrastructure. Second, let's come together as neighbors to create awareness. Organize cleanup days, tree planting events, or educational workshops. The more we can engage in each other, the stronger our community becomes in the face of a climate change. Climate change impacts all of us, especially in our neighborhoods. By understanding these issues and taking action together, we can create a resilient community. And remember, every small action counts. Let's keep our neighborhoods thriving and sustainable. Climate resilience is community resilience, and it starts one street, one neighbor at a time.
So, what's the takeaway? You can't fix climate change without fixing inequality. Climate change isn't just a weather problem, it's a people problem. It's a housing problem, it's a food problem, it's a justice problem. If we want real solutions, we need to center equity and we need to listen to the communities that are most impacted. We need smart, inclusive climate policy deeply rooted in equity. And honestly, it starts with conversations like this. It starts with awareness. It starts with asking better questions. It starts with listening. Thank you so much for joining us. But before we go, I want to give my amazing co-host a chance to say goodbye too.
Thank you guys. It's been real. And just a reminder, climate change isn't far away. It's right outside your front door. Be good to your neighbors and your neighborhood. Thank you.
Thanks for reminding us, Donique, that food security is climate security. Stay curious, stay informed, and remember to support your local growers whenever you can. Love it! And hey, if this episode got you thinking, tag us on social media, share it with a friend. Also, don't forget to subscribe and tune in next time for more voices, more stories, and more ways to fight the climate crisis together. Until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and stay climate conscious.